everyone, welcome to Art Club. Our Summer Learning Challenge theme this year is Read, Renew, Repeat. So we're going to be creating something using items that we already have on hand here at the library, such as paint, buttons, ribbon, pipe cleaners, and then I've also been saving cardboard egg cartons that we're going to be using as well to create something really special. So we're going to be making this fun piece of art. So all of these flowers are created using egg carton pieces. And you can see that there's buttons on the inside. This will make a beautiful piece of art to hang on your wall, or you could even give it as a gift. All right, let's go over what's inside our kits. So we have a canvas. We have some buttons. I don't know if you can see those. Some buttons. Those are going to be the inside of your flowers. We have some pipe cleaners, which will be the stems. A ribbon. Some of these pieces of egg carton. And glue dots. And a foam paintbrush. A foam paintbrush works really well when you're working with this type of a surface, because you can actually dot it on there when you can't get the paint to smooth on nicely. And then you're going to have 4 different colors of paint. The blue is going to be for your canvas, and then your other paints will be for your flowers. A couple of things that you'll need from home are a pair of scissors and a cup so you can wash out your paintbrush. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I would like you to paint your canvas first. And again, we're going to be using this blue paint. We're going to make sure that we spread it out nice and evenly on the canvas so we don't have any lines. And then we're going to let that dry. Most likely we're going to need 2 coats. So go ahead, as always, open up your brown paper bag that your kit came in and lay that on your work surface. So if you make a mess, it goes on there instead. All right, so I've got my blue paint here, and I'm going to start painting the canvas. And just do nice strokes to apply that paint. We want to make sure that we don't have big globs on here, because eventually once we add that second coat, if you have big globs, you'll be able to still see the lines from the paint. So you want to make sure you spread it out. I know it looks pretty thin right now. Just keep going. And the lines that you're seeing here are just from the strokes. It's not the lines of too much paint. So as long as yours looks similar to mine, we're good to go. You can try to paint the edges while it's laying on the paper, or once this side dries, then you can lift it up and paint the edges. I'm going to just try to paint at least my first coat on there like this. Up a little bit. So this blue paint is acrylic, but the other paint we're using is tempera. All right, take a look. Make sure you don't see any big blobs of paint. If you do, just spread them out. And then we're going to sit and we're going to let this dry for a little bit. All right, while we're letting that canvas dry, let's go ahead and start working on our flowers. So you have quite a few of these egg carton pieces, and these ones are not trimmed. They look a little rough. So if you like this look, you can make your flowers just the way they are, cut out like this. and paint them and put them and have your flower bouquet looking just like that. If you want yours to look a little bit more smooth, I guess I'm going to use the word, you can cut your egg carton piece to look like this. So I cut rounded edges on here with scissors. You can also make the pointy pieces a little bit, you can clean that up a little bit, and you can also add in here so it looks like you've got several different petals on here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Don't worry about how yours turn out because no flower is perfect and it's going to look beautiful no matter what we do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim up this one. So it looks like I'm going to have a pointy flower on this one. So I'm going to cut off this piece here. And then you can see there's 2 petals here. So I'm going to make petals on this side. And I'm going to do that by just cutting a triangle in this middle piece right here. So you cut that and just pull it out, and now you've got 4 petals. I can trim this up if I want so it looks a little more pointy. I can cut this off so they're about the same size, but again, not every flower is perfect, so you can really just make whatever shape you want. This is a little loose here, a little not as firm, and that might make it a little challenging to paint, which is fine, but if you want to, you can trim that up a little bit so it's a little easier to paint. So go ahead and start working on yours. I'll show you how to cut one that's curved like this, and I think I'll try it with this one here. So I'm just going to curve and cut. If you need some help, you can ask your grown-up. I'm sure they would love to be a part of this project. So first I'm going to cut off this extra piece here so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And there's 2 petals here, and then I'm going to cut a triangle here so I can make 2 more petals. Pull that out, curve it, and then here's some extra piece here that I can cut off, and that looks pretty good. So I would say I did give you some extra egg carton pieces just so you can have one in case you don't like what you cut. But I would only put probably 4 or 5 flowers on your canvas depending on your placement. So you can cut 4 or 5 now, or you can cut more later, but it might be easier just to cut them all now and then put them on. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make one more pointy one. So this one's got 1 point here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut this part off and this rounded part here. Alright, I think I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. It's not going to be as tall as the other pointy one. Triangle. You can see where I just pull that out. There we go. Do one more here. I'm going to make this one a little shorter. Trim it up a little bit, make a little point. course, not all flower petals have points. But again, you can do anything you want, make any shape or size flower out of these egg carton pieces. So mine looks like it's got a couple of larger petals and then a smaller one and a couple medium ones. I'm going to do one more. And I've been practicing, so if it looks like I'm going really fast and that it's easy for me to cut these, that's just because I've been practicing. So if you're struggling and it's taking you a little bit longer, go ahead, pause the video, and then turn it back on when you're ready. Shorten this one a little bit. And there we go. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go back to our canvas and see if that's dry and add another coat. All right, mine is mostly dry, so I'm going to go ahead and start on another coat. Yeah. Looking so much better with that extra coat. And I'm just smoothing out those spots that have the extra paint. Sides. Oops. All right, let's let that dry. All right, so while the canvas is drying with its second coat, let's go ahead and start painting our flowers. So I really like this color yellow, so I'm going to put that on maybe 2 or 3 of my flowers. So the best thing to do, you can first of all start trying to paint it on. Some of these egg cartons are different brands and some of them are super smooth, like this one, and some of them are not. So let me do this one first and then I'll show you how to paint on those ones that are not super smooth. So again, these colors for the flowers are tempera, so if you get it on your fingers, it'll wash right off. So I'm going to turn it upside down, let it dry, and then I'm going to do this one. This one is a little bit rougher. It has more crevices in there. So I'm going to try to paint the inside, and if you can't get it, try doing it like this. Try dabbing the paint on with this foam brush. So now we do want to do the inside, and that is a little trickier to paint, so dabbing works very well. Don't worry too much about painting the bottom. You're going to be putting your buttons in there. Now you will have some bigger buttons and some littler buttons, but don't struggle too much. You know, if it seems frustrating, just do the best you can and dab it on there. So I'm gonna let the inside dry before I start working on the outside on this one. And I think I'll paint this one yellow as well. So when you switch paint colors, make sure you go, you can do it in the sink or your cup of water, and you rinse out your brush really well. These foam paint brushes do hold a lot of paint, so it might take a few minutes to get all that color out. So decide which colors you want to use and how many flowers you're going to paint that color, and do that all at once before you rinse out your brush. And really, you don't have to worry about painting the bottom too much either, because that's going to be glued right onto your canvas. So I'm working with 2 paintbrushes today, but you're only going to be getting one. And I just rinsed this one out. I'm going to use a paper towel just to make sure all that water from rinsing has come off. So you might want to grab a paper towel and do the same. The next color I'm going to be using is orange. We probably will need to do more than one coat on these. So this is definitely a project that we need to take our time on. I'm gonna let that dry. And do orange on this one as well. You definitely see that I'm going to be adding more paint later once this soaks in. So go ahead, paint your flowers. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to dry. Get as much paint on there as you would like for whatever color you would like, and then we'll check back in a little bit. While everything is drying from the second or possibly third coat of paint, let's work on the stems of the flowers. We will be cutting these pipe cleaners in half. Each flower does not need to have their own stem. The stems will just be added up and underneath the flowers, so it will give the illusion that they all have their own stem. So go ahead, we're going to cut these in half. So if you would like, you could fold them in half and then give a little crease. And actually, I don't even think we need to cut them. Let's go ahead and at the part where we folded, let's go ahead and twist them together like this. And then this is the part up here where we twisted that we're going to put up underneath those flowers. So the next thing we're going to do is tie our ribbon around the stem. Right, so you can go ahead, lay it underneath. Give it a nice tight pull. You can play with your knot a little bit and twist it so it looks like it's straight across from each other, so the bow is not crooked. And then we're going to take and loop the ribbon, and then we're going to loop this side. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. It's easier to work with, and we can always make them shorter later on. And you're going to cross them over each other. Well, let's make it even bigger. All right. So see how big my loops are? They're pretty big. And then we're going to loop them through and tie a knot. So you're gonna have to play with it a little bit. As you can see, one side is longer than the other, so you just kind of move it around until you have it how you want it to be. And then to give it a nice little touch, you can trim the extra ribbon off. I like to cut it on a diagonal, gives a nice little touch. And there we go. So now that's ready to go. Next up, we'll be adding our buttons to our flowers. So go ahead and grab your glue dots. You'll unroll it just a little bit and you can see the dot here. Your best bet when working with glue dots is to take the item that you want to glue onto something and put it right on the glue dot. And then it should peel right off and stay on your button. So then you pick the flower that you would like to put it in, and put it in there and press it really good. Put your finger or your thumb in there and press it really good. Maybe count to 10 just to make sure it stays in there nicely. So go ahead and do that with all your buttons. Some of our glue dots are a little bit bigger than our buttons. It's fine. Just go ahead and work with it. If you find that you're having trouble with this roll, you can open up your roll and cut each glue stick, or glue dot in between. If you think that would be easier. Sometimes the glue dots just like to stick to your fingers. So I'm really peeling up the button. I'm not peeling up the glue dot. So if you're struggling with that, just try to get your fingernail underneath the button and peel it up that way, rather than trying to peel up the glue dot. Yeah, every time I do that, it sticks to my thumb. So if that's happening to you too and you don't like it, go ahead and cut your glue dots. And I've got one more. And there they are. So now let's go ahead and glue them right onto our canvas. Pick which side you want to be the top and which side you want to be the bottom. And just remember, so I've got it in our video this way. This is going to be my top over here, and this is going to be my bottom. All right, let's go ahead and start adding our flowers right onto our canvas. So this is going to be my top over here, and this is going to be the bottom where the stems are going to go. So again, you're going to take your glue dots. So now I have all this extra where the glue dots have been taken off. I'm just going to rip that so I don't have to deal with as much. There's the glue dot. I'm gonna apply my first flower onto the glue, and some of these have their middle is just a little bit lower than the outside. So if it's not sticking, make sure you cover part of this outer part with the glue dot. That way you know for sure it's going to stick right on your canvas. So I've got it, I don't know if you can see here and then some here. And I'm going to go ahead and apply to the top, near the top, so we have room for everything else. And then I'm going to put my hand underneath so it has a like a sturdy surface for you to apply the pressure on the glue dot without damaging the canvas. This glue dot is not sticking, so I'm going to skip that one and go on to another one. Press it on there and peel it back. And for some reason that one's not sticking. I'm going to switch to a different one. Maybe it's the egg carton. There we go. Sometimes it might curl up and it might not be flat. So you can spread it out just a little bit. I'm going to lay this one here. Press with my hand underneath. Right. And I'm going to just kind of put it up in here, try to get it into the space right in between these two. Don't put it too far away because we want to try to keep that bouquet right towards the top. That one I had to help a little bit to stay on there. It's sticking. Let's see if we can get this one to stay on. Yep, there we go. Let's see. I think I'll do mine like that. So you should have some extra glue dots in there. So don't worry about it if you need to use a few on one egg carton. Sometimes they just don't want to stick. And then, I think I'll put my last one right here, and then my stems are going to come down here. Oop. And now we're going to put our glue dot, we're going to put one here and one here. Maybe we'll need more, we'll have to see. Sometimes we might have to put some on the ribbon to get it to stay. We're just going to tuck that in right here. All right, so do the top part first. Then we'll add one on the back. Here's the top, the back of the ribbon. Whoops, and I accidentally touched this part of the ribbon right on the next dot, so I'm going to leave that on there, but that will actually give it a little bit more sturdiness. And I'm going to tuck that in there. Put my hand under, give a good press. And then this is the part of the ribbon that had the extra glue dot. And there we go. It looks beautiful. Well, that was super fun. It did take a long time for the paint to dry, but sometimes that's what happens when you're making art. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope it inspires you to create and upcycle more items from around your home. If you would like to show me how yours turned out, please email it to me at youth@newlenoxlibrary.org, and I'll see you soon at the library.